everyone. It's been almost 18 months since I've uploaded an art journal page. So it's been pretty much that long since I've created one. So anyway, just getting back into it, I hope. So I'm using the Dina Wakley mixed media 8 by 5 inch journal, I think it is. Mixed media journal, and I just gessoed that after I added some masking tape to the center. Now I'm just taking some tissue wrap, you know, the stuff you just get with gifts and flowers and that, the clear stuff, and I'm just using temporary tape, adhesive runner on that to adhere it down to give it some sturdiness to run it through the printer just onto the copy paper there. So I've ran it through an inkjet printer there and just cutting it out because I want to use these images over some paint on the page. So just took a an old paintbrush there, dip it in water, and that helps tear it around the edges so you haven't got that strict harsh cut edge. So that's what I've done there, and once they've dried, I add it. But I also printed out these little ladybugs on some just plain old white copy paper. Probably could have used a sort of a lightweight cardstock, but it still worked fine. And it was a bit fiddly to cut out the little hands, and I tried to use the craft knife there, and they worked okay except for the last two. So that one, I cut one out fine. The little feet were fine. It was just those other two hands, so I just chopped them off and drew them on later on down the track. So, and these are just going to be used on the page. So I'm just getting ready to do the page now. Going around the cut edges with the black what is it? It's a brush liner, brush marker, the microns. Yeah. So here I'm taking some acrylic paint and just applying it with a dried baby wipe. I usually use wet, well, sort of half wet, half dried baby wipes, but I couldn't wait till it dried. So I just had a stash of them there, clean wet baby wipes that I used. And I just think it gives it a random sort of look to, instead of a brushed on paint. So just using a few Liquitex Basics colours there, and yeah, didn't work that one out too well with the purple and the yellow, because once they're mixed they make brown. And it wasn't vivid enough, so I thought I'd add some more of the colour over itself, just using my fingers there, which I probably could have done in the first place instead of using the dry tissue, dry paper, dry baby wipe. Anyway, it just adds to all the texture there. And I thought in doing that I could sort of diffuse that brown between the yellow and the purple. Anyway, so now what I'm doing is I'm trying to position all these printed tissue paper pieces onto the page, how I'm going to have the layout. And, so once I'm okay with that, I'm just going to adhere it down with some Liquitex fluid matte medium. So put some matte medium on the base and then reinforced it down with over the top of it with that matte medium. So that's all I'm doing there is, and I wanted them not so bold, like not so black and white, the butterflies. I could have stamped them, but it's, you do what you do at the time, what you think, what you're thinking about, and it's probably a lot quicker doing it the way I did it than um, stamping them all. So I'm just going over this with the black marker just to define those circle shapes before I then move on. Decided to leave that under area plain, under the mushroom. So I'm going in and I'm darkening that mushroom top with black acrylic paint. I think that's Mars Black, that one. So just going around all those circle shapes, and it makes it stand out. And you can see all those, I'll get to that later. Yep, just using a white POSCA pen too, because you can see the colours underneath that tissue paper, and I didn't want it shown on the mushroom. Just wanted it shown where the butterflies were. So outlined where the white was going, and then I'm now painting all those little spots with the white titanium white acrylic paint, and I do give them quite a few coats, especially the stem of the mushroom. That had at least half a dozen coats of it once I start getting into it. So you can see how transparent it is when I paint it there with just the first layer. You can still see the colours underneath, so that's why it needed a few coats, quite a few coats. So I let them dry in between coats and went along and did other things while that was working. And so now I wanted to go over, you can see there where the tissue paper ends, and I don't like that look. So that's why I'm going over it, where the colours, over each of the colour areas there, just with finger and the paint there. So it's sort of blotchy in places, but I don't mind that. At least now you can't really tell where the tissue paper ends and the paper begins, so to speak. So I do that for all the colours just to, yeah, get rid of that edge. It sort of works, not too bad. So fairly happy with how that worked out. Okay, now what am I doing? Still going to town there, and you can see the difference of colours in the paints there, in the shades of the yellow, and I don't mind that either. But you can see all the finger dabs, finger marks, fingerprint marks on there, which I liked, part and parcel of the texture. Okay, so the mushroom's black and white, and I wanted another black and white. Well, I wanted the elements that go above the background to be black and white. So I yeah, just extended that, the stem of that flower, cut and pasted it in a Word document pretty much. And now just working out where I'm going to position it on the page. Yep, I liked it over there better, so I'm going to chop it off and sort of position it so it's sitting behind that mushroom. So then it sort of looks more like one long stem. So yeah, I'm happy with how that looks, but I decided that I wanted to print some more butterflies to have on the other areas of the background, because I thought it was a bit too stark, so I thought I wanted to just sort of cover it all with all the little butterflies. So again, just separating sections of it. Alright, now trying to position them on here, cutting them off where they need to be, and if I kill a butterfly in the meantime, fair enough. All part and parcel of the process. So just trying to work out how I'm going to position them, knowing that I'm going where I'm going to have that black and white flower. Yep. Still trying to work it out. There we go. Now I'm happy with it. So I'm just going to adhere those down again with some fluid matte medium. Once I'm happy with the layout. Do you know, in effect, when you think about all the stuff and around that I've done here with the printed tissue paper, it would have been so much easier and quicker. Oh, I just printed some bugs as well, so I added those on the bottom. It would have been so much easier had I done the background with the paints, drew the mushroom, because it's not rocket science how to draw a mushroom, um, and the flower, and stamp the butterflies. So, however, I do like the stark whiteness of the printed flower. It's very hard to get your white, stark white over paint. So going back again, just diffusing those edges where the tissue wrap um, is. Again, yeah, rather than having just the butterflies, I thought I'd have a few little creepy crawlies on the bottom. And they're all just the black and white, so I thought that with the ladybug as a coloured element sort of stood out a bit better. And just using some Elmer's, I think that one's the fabric and paper glue to adhere that down. Yeah, I like that. And the little bug's going to go on there, and I'm going to have to draw his hands anyway, so... And I break his little antenna when I tried to stick it down, but he goes back on all right. Okay. Okay, now I'm going to go around this flower with the Touch Dayu black twin marker. Just to make it pop. So that the tissue paper butterflies and bugs sort of blend into the background, and these ones stand out. So going around those white dots again, just redefining those with that marker. Alright, now I'm going to try and draw these hands. He's not rocket science, but anyway. Sort of like he's hugging the stool there. Yep, redefining that mushroom stem and the mushroom. Alright, so now comes the title, and I decided just to print that out onto lightweight cardstock. And cutting those words out individually. Now working out how I'm going to put it on the page. Inking the edges with some jet black archival ink just to give it a bit of pop. And I could have coloured those letters in black, had them solid with the white background. Now I'm just giving a bit of a shadow to the mushroom and the ladybug and the flower stem. Just using a cool grey marker there. And adhering the title down. I think I just used Nouveau Deluxe adhesive there. So yeah, fairly happy with how the page turned out. First one in 18 months, not too bad. So hopefully that'll give me incentive to do a few more journal pages. So thanks so much for watching, guys, and I'll be back soon with either another card or another journal page. Going to try and get a card out each Friday and maybe a journal page out each Tuesday or on the weekend, something like that. So let me know. Okay, thanks guys. Bye.